Victims' families in East Legon car crash unsatisfied with court sentence to son of Salifu Amwako. NDC National Organizer Joseph Yamin accuses Precious Minerals Marketing Company of peddling falsehood over the gold bar seizure saga. In business, Ghana among low-rated nations facing persistent financial hurdles in 2025. On the international front, scores of children killed in stampede at a funfair in Nigeria. More on these top stories and others coming up shortly in the 60 minutes broadcast. Stay with us here on Newsroom. Welcome to Newsroom. My name is Emmanuel Agyabeng. Grandmother of Justine Agbenu, one of the two deceased girls in the car crash at East Legon, is demanding an amendment to the Juvenile Justice Act. This follows the perpetrator, 16-year-old son of Archbishop Salifu Amwako's 6-month sentence to Senior Correctional Center. On October 12, 2024, two 12-year-old girls, Justine Agbenu and Mame Jomobuating, were trapped in a burning vehicle after he crashed into them. He pleaded guilty to 8 counts, including 2 counts of manslaughter. The court also ordered his father, Bishop Salifu Amwako, to pay over 8,000 cedis for damages to the light pole destroyed at the scene of the incident. A Jaguar on top speed when he crashed into the young girls, 2 young girls, Justine Agbenu and Mame Jomobuating, at the intersection, and he drove them into the pole and it caught fire, and unfortunately these 2 ladies lost their lives, their dreams cut short. But this is the decision of the court, and the families are not exactly happy with Justine Agbenu's family, her grandmother, and respecters saying that there should be some reviews to the laws. She believes the punishment meted out to Bishop Salifu Amwako's son seem not to compensate the family's loss. Now let's cross over and speak to our legal affairs correspondent Mutala Yunusa. He has been following this development since it happened on October 12. He joins me now via Zoom. Mutala, many thanks for joining us. Tell us, first off, what was the scene in the courtroom today when the judge put out the ruling?
Well, Ima, it was quite a solemn day at the juvenile court when the matter was called up for the judgment. This follows the juvenile's decision to go back on his earlier plea. He had pleaded not guilty to 8 counts, but upon reflection, he came back to the court to indicate that he accepts all the charges that have been leveled against him, including 2 counts of manslaughter, dangerous driving, and driving without license. And so $1 was done. The onus is now on the court. And then the court had ordered for a social report to be done on him. And a social report, in fact, captured all that the young boy has been going through, his lifestyle, the way he lives. And quite interesting, if you listen to the history of his lifestyle, pointing to the fact that he suffered some depression along the line. The fact that the parents are not together has also affected him at one point in time. And so if you listen to the circumstances with which the young man lives, it gives a lot of room to be desired. And when the judge proceeded to hand down the sentence, made references to the Juvenile Justice Act and said that, look, under the Act, juveniles who are facing trial, are facing offenses in court, for instance, murder, it prescribes a punishment that's maximum, which the maximum is up to 3 years. However, if you look at the offense of manslaughter, it is not part of the serious offenses that attract 3 years. And for manslaughter, the highest punishment that it attracts, as per the Juvenile Justice Act, is 6 months. And so the court is sentencing him to the Senior Correctional Center to serve a 6-month term there. And in fact, the court also made an order for him to sign an undertaking not to drive until he turns 18. In the laws of Ghana, you can only drive when you are 18 years and above. And currently he's 16 years. His parents, especially the mother, make the point that in America, as old as 15 years, you can drive, and 16 years, you can have license. But that is not pertain to our setting here. And the fact that the parent could not control her to let her understand that in Ghana, if you are not 18 years, you do not drive, point clearly that the parents have checked their responsibility. Salif Amwakun denied the fact that he knows his son has been driving along, but the mother admitted that he has been driving. The court looked at all the situation and said, look, where it has gotten to, the highest punishment is 6 months. Go in there, effective today. And the court also admonished or urged on the family of the deceased to let Sleeping Dog's life find a way to forgive and move on, because what has happened, there's no way that those two girls are going to come back. And so a minute silence was held for the departed souls. And in fact, like you mentioned, moments after the judgment was handed down, the family of the deceased were not happy. And also one thing that I must also point out is that Bishop Salif Amwakun and the wife, Moha Amwakun, were each fined 500 penalty unit. And what that 500 penalty unit was to do is that the court said they failed to control their boy. They failed to raise their boy properly. And as persons who are known to be persons who are reverend ministers and of a sort, they felt that they could have done better. So they should also sign a bond to make sure that they will take care of the boy, raise him, bring him up in a proper manner. This, among other things, the court said that after, he should also be reporting to the probation officers. He should also make sure that his passport will be in the custody of the court until such time that he signed, is finished serving his term at the Senior Correctional Center. And so, in effect, what has happened now is that the young man came to court earlier, pleaded not guilty to 8 counts. He has reflected on that. He's come back to admit the offense, and he has since been convicted and sentenced to serve 6 months a term. In addition to that, the court is saying that he should sign an undertaking not to drive until when he see Aboboya, Abosoka and Macho, all of them, he should just close his eyes, he should pass. He should never get closer to some of these things. So that is the decision of the Salif Amwakun son's incident. So both parents have each been fined 6,000 Ghana cedis.
You earlier engaged the grandmother of Justine Agbenu. Just tell us how that engagement went.
Yes, so Kwabena has been speaking to me, and for them, yes, the court has spoken. The Juvenile Justice Act clearly states the maximum, the terms of the punishment. For them, there's nothing that they could do, but what they will appeal is that there should be an amendment to attract heavy or a punishment that will be more heavier than this one.
Through reckless riding. Then company say, but also they've depression or medications, only driving license for 16 years. No money cannot. Let's say for you say, let's say when I was said this is one of them. It is a man who said this is one of them. I can't so I can't assume a driver without license. The boy, and then you speak around. Or driver and registered vehicles, or driver without license. Cut on one of my.
Quite what we just saw, visibly a set grandmother of Justine Agbenu. But Mutala, let's switch to the Amwakos. How was the mood of the 16-year-old boy in court? The family, how did they receive the court's judgment?
Well, Ima, in the course of the sentencing, because of how juvenile cases are dealt with, both parents, Bishop Salifu Amwako and Moha Amwako, stood behind their son just to give him support in relation to whatever he's going through. They've been very sober, they've been very calm throughout the process, but officially they've not said anything on tape. But what is clear is that in the courtroom, the whole thing was very solemn, very quiet, and they looked so sober in terms of all that was happening. I told you earlier that the minute silence was held, and immediately the sentence was handed down. The family of the deceased, all of them broke down in tears in open court, and it was a very, very serious matter, if you ask me. And when they came back to the mother, in fact, of Justine Agbenu, I tried to engage her one-on-one, and she said that no, at this particular point in time, I'm unable to say anything. Whatever I want to say is what the grandma had already said. But for Salifu Amwako and the wife and the family, they came here moments after the court handed down the sentence. All that they were supposed to do, they had to do before leaving the premises of the court.
Mutala, thank you so much for giving us the update from the court. That's the legal updates when it comes to the East Legon car crash. But in the court of public opinion on this matter has not left out, and people have been talking on social media. Many have been left right, and others are not happy with the decision. But Evelyn Araba Adu is with me in studio now to give us details of what people are saying on social media. Evelyn, take us away.
All right, so Ima, on social media, there's been a lot of reactions on this. And when we go to X, formerly Twitter, Don Yara says that in some countries like Mexico, relatives are not going to rest until they revenge their children. Some laws in Ghana need to be reviewed, and that's the opinion of Don Yara. When we move on to Brakofi, he says that two beautiful girls killed and the lives of two different families destroyed for life. And Salifu Amwako's son gets to walk away with a slap on the wrist. May God be the judge. And moving on to David Ni Ajayi, he says that does this mean moving forward people are allowed to kill someone and also get 6 months, because this verdict makes no sense? And if that's the case, then we are in big trouble as a nation. And he goes ahead to say that I do believe this case should be reviewed again for the right justice to be served. And KC Cephas also says that 6 months is the maximum sentence for a minor, irrespective of the crime. In any case, this is not a criminal case, and the parents of the children that perished should rather sue the boy's parents to get the right justice there. And then JC the T also says that 6 months for burning two girls due to reckless driving. That's what he's asking. And he says that I don't want to hear any, in quotes, we talk law and not the truth. Tell me that when a 16-year-old kid drives recklessly whilst recording and in the process he crashes a car that contains your two kids, who feels it knows it better. And that's what he's saying. And then when we move on to Instagram, Nana K says that this life, no balance. He wants his child to live a free life whilst others' life have been taken. Karma is a bitch. So he will surely pay beyond this. You have caused a family so much grief, yet you are not even remorseful. The rich always have their way. And then Max Asante says that, and they will sentence a poor man's son to more than 10 years for stealing rice. That's the opinion of Max Asante. And then Mami Amedua says that God is God. He is merciful, but all acts will never go unpunished. Still taking opinions from social media, John says that the sentence is too light. That's what he believes. And he says the family should sue the pastor. And Ray Dawn, also adding his voice, says that someone who is underage, has no driving license, and has killed deliberately, I will apologize to my kids every day if they should find themselves in Ghana. That's the opinion of Ray Kon Opoku. And then Perry says that it is said that justice must be done, but must be seen to have been done. Wherever the ordinary man walks away from the court under the impression that justice hasn't been done, it is most likely that justice wasn't done. That's the opinion of Perry there. And then Isaac Ajete says that the law has never served justice. That's what he believes. He says justice is in the belly of time and with God. Take heart. It's so sad, but it is what it is. Your loss is irreplaceable. Justice would have ameliorated the pain, but the law is not just. Mama, and then may God console the entire family. And then Richard Quantin says that if his dad was a certain poor man in the country, in the countryside, would it have been 6 months? That's the question he's asking. This is the problem we have in the judiciary: selective justice. That's the opinion of Richard there. And then Ebenezer Mensah also adding his voice, says that I have always said that the laws are meant for the poor only. This is why people are losing trust in the courts. Jollof Rice says that they should have punished the parents instead. That's what he says there. And then Yao Prempe says that 6 months. Now plantain seller and Nokia 3310 theft gets how many? Then somebody who has committed this crime. And then Peter Achu Ahianyo says that I'm so being forced to use midnight data to do most stuffs now. Well, I will end it there. These are some of the comments that Sam will allow us to bring to you on the reaction of on the back of the 6-month sentence that has been served to the 16-year-old juvenile for causing the deaths of the 2 girls. Sima.
Evelyn, thank you so much for bringing us the comments on social media. On the face of the law, justice has been served, but in the court of public opinion, that is not what is happening in the minds of people. But we'll leave legal processes. All we can say is we can only console the families of Justine and Mami Jomo Boateng for what has happened. Away from that, the Precious Minerals Marketing Company Limited has accused the national organizer of the NDC, Yamin, of forcibly seizing billion bags that were being processed for the Bank of Ghana. In a statement, PMMC condemned the action of the NDC national organizer, explaining that it undermines the confidence legitimate gold buyers have in the country. Now, excerpts of the statements read, the billion bags belong to the Bank of Ghana as part of the ongoing domestic gold purchase program, which was launched as far back as June 2021. The billion bars were being assayed to confirm their weight, purity, and consequently value. It was during this assay that the process was disrupted by a mob led by Mr. Yamin, with the allegation that the said billion bars were being smuggled secretly out of Ghana by certain political actors, which allegation is false. PMMC and the Bank of Ghana had to call the intervention of the police, and after several hours of standoff, it was agreed that the billion bars be moved to the Greater Accra Regional Police Command for safekeeping until this morning, as per the statement, with the hope of a resolution to the issue. It is worthy to note that a private exporter who is duly licensed to carry out exports was also affected by this unfortunate incident. The gold, which was being processed for export by the private licensed exporter, was also added to the billion belonging to the Bank of Ghana. National organizer for the NDC, Yamin, has accused the Precious Minerals Marketing Company, PMMC, of peddling falsehood over the gold bars seizure saga. He has denied allegations of attempting to seize gold bars meant for the Bank of Ghana. According to Mr. Yamin, the statement by the PMMC does not reflect what transpired. He spoke exclusively on the Morning Star with Nadiri Tate.
The PMMC guy says that the gold they were exporting was from private refineries. That is what they told us.
Okay.
In the presence of all the security people. And our question was straight. Is it for Bank of Ghana? Because the gold for oil, whatever trade, is done by the Bank of Ghana, not PMMC. PMMC buys these goods, and government of Ghana takes it. Immediately, the government of Ghana take possession of it to do the exchange program. It has to be in the safety and the care of Bank of Ghana. PMMC washes its hands off these gold because it's now the property of the state. At this point, as we were talking, PMMC told us that they also do exporting for private trade.
Okay.
And so, this gold we're talking about is not gold that they picked from Bank of Ghana.
Okay, they picked it from private.
Yes, and so
private refineries.
Refineries, and they export it for them. All they did that day was to get Bank of Ghana security to come and police them to the safer grounds of the airport for them to be able to do the transaction. That is from the PMMC guy that time. Then we asked the head of security of Bank of Ghana who brought it, that is the consignment for Bank of Ghana. He categorically stated that no. So the police commander asked him, at what point did you join the consignment to the airport? He said they were called in the PMMC were in the process of exporting the gold out of the country, and that they should come in and should, in case they are unable to finish the process today, they can take the things back to Bank of Ghana, safe grounds.
President-elect John Dramani Mahama has recently addressed concerns regarding the mandates of the Operation Recover or Electoral, emphasizing that it is not a witch-hunting body. This clarification comes in the wake of concerns from various quarters who perceive the committee's investigations as targeted attacks against certain individuals, especially those in the outgoing government. Speaking during a courtesy call by the Canada High Commission in Ghana, President Mahama pointed out that the effectiveness of oral relies on collaborative efforts across the political spectrum and among civil society, and encouraged stakeholders to participate actively in the committee's processes to ensure that it operates fairly and transparently.
I announced the preparatory committee, and I think people are misunderstanding it. We're receiving a lot of information on things that are going wrong, or things, corruption scandals and all that. Some send me texts on my phone, some call me, others pass through other people. We want a focal point where all that evidence is directed, and so that they can assemble that evidence. And once we come into office, oral is not going to be investigating people. Is going to gather the evidence and pass on that evidence to the government institutions that are geared, supposed to do that kind of work. And so we just want that if people have any information that they think is useful in the fight against corruption, pass it on to this team. That's what the team is about. And they are all doing that service pro bono. They are not expecting any payment. There's no expenditure or budget associated with the task that they are carrying out. And so that's the explanation for it. Yeah. And so I don't think that people should think that it's a witch hunting committee. They have no brooms to fly at night. So I can assure people that it's not meant to witch hunt, people.
On a rather sad note, had broken to share that Lisa, the brave 10-year-old battling leukemia, has passed away. Despite the incredible support from Ibrahim Mahama, her journey was cut short. She died in South Africa after a number of surgeries. Lisa fought well, and we want to say thank you to Ibrahim Mahama for the support to help save Lisa, who's 10-year-old, and she suffered myeloid acute leukemia. But after a couple of surgeries, she couldn't make it, and she has unfortunately lost her life. We ask that let's all honor her memory by continuing to support children in need, and we say rest in peace, Lisa. You fought well. Let's do some election-related stories now. The Electoral Commission says it will employ alternative methods available to verify the results of the Agyabeng North Constituency parliamentary election, despite the distraction of ballot papers in the fire. The fire, which occurred at the Kwabena cluster of schools on Tuesday, December 17, 2024, destroyed electoral materials including ballot papers and pink sheets. In an interview at an event hosted by the Ghana Center for Democratic Development, CDD, on Wednesday, December 18, 2024, Director for Training at the Electoral Commission, Dr. Serebo Kweku, stated that despite the destruction of the electoral materials, alternative verification methods are in place to address the disputed results of the Agyabeng North constituency.
The ballot boxes have been bent, but as I said, we have results in other forms. So once we are able to gather the results from the other forms, once they are complete, we can.
So the public should not be worried about that.
That's my view. Because my point is that we should not set the precedent that somebody can truncate the process. Because if it becomes that, then the survival of the fittest, the one who can bully his way or her way becomes the winner. I don't think we should get there. So we should not accept any form. If that is the decision of the voter, it should be upheld. So we should do anything that will uphold the decision of the voter, not technicalities. That's my view.
Parliamentary results for Kwabena, Kwai Central, Agyabeng North and Tema Central constituencies are illegal due to the manner in which they were declared and cannot be upheld. According to Deputy Chairperson in charge of operations Samuel Tete, the recollation in the Kwabena, Kwai Central, Agyabeng North and Tema Central did not follow laid down processes as enshrined in CI 127, despite police presence at the collation centers to enable the commission staff to undertake that recollation. Tete explained that 3 of the 12 constituencies requiring recollation of parliamentary results have been successfully completed, Suhum, Akwitia and Fantiapa North. However, recollation is yet to take place in Ahafo Southwest, Ahafo North, Obuasi East and Judgement South. We are told the EC is set to address the media on these outstanding constituencies. My colleague Obed King Gaglo is on ground. He's at the headquarters of the Electoral Commission, and we are engaging him now on that particular matter. Obed, tell us, what is the EC saying now?
Right, so Emmanuel, you can hear me right at headquarters. The commission is about to address the press about the outstanding constituencies that are yet to be collated. If you recall, some 4 constituencies that were declared illegal by the Electoral Commission, they include the Kwabena Central constituency, Tema Central constituency, Kwabena constituency, and one other. Now, according to the commission, these constituencies did not follow the laid-down procedure as spelled out by CI 127, and so this press conference essentially is to update us about the decision of the commission about these constituencies. And so you can see behind me, colleague journalists are set ready to listen to the Electoral Commission. They are yet to address us, and so as and when they come to address us, we will feed you in. So basically, it's about these outstanding constituencies that the EC says that are illegal because they did not follow the laid-down procedures as spelled out in at CI 127.
To hear from the EC on matters respect to the NDC's suits and injunction being sought at the courts.
likely those are also matters that will be updated by the Electoral Commission. We remember that, especially with regard to the one constituency which Member of Parliament Frank Anodompre, the NDC, went to the court to issue an injunction on the process, but according to Bossman Asari, they have not received that very injunction, and so we are hoping that they also touch on that very suit by the National Democratic Congress and also other recollation. You remember there are also some constituency which include Afano South, West, Afano North, and then Fantuakwa constituencies that the EC says needs to be recollated. So these constituencies, we are sure that the Electoral Commission will touch on, and so we are waiting with bated breath for the Electoral Commission to address the press.
Obed, thank you so much for giving us the updates at the EC headquarters. Obed Kinkaglo is my colleague here at the EIB network. Once we have the details of that press, I'll bring it to you in a subsequent broadcast. A minority in Parliament is demanding that Ministers of Education and Finance be hauled before the House over the 100 million cedi debt owed to the West African Examinations Council. Speaking on the floor of Parliament, ranking member of the Education Committee, Picha Notu Kotei, raised concerns over the impact of the indebtedness, which included the likely delay of the 2024 results. He thus called for the two ministers to be hauled to Parliament to answer questions.
Speaker, currently, there is a serious financial challenge facing WAEC with regard to the conduct of the 2024 WASE, post-examination activities and the release of results. According to a press release by WAEC on 19 December, WAEC stated that the Ministry of Education was owing the Council the sum of 118 million Ghana cedis. The effect of the delay in the release of funds to WAEC is negatively affecting their mandate in several ways. WAEC has to incur high costs of conducting examinations because materials cannot be procured in bulk and in advance. Also, WAEC is unable to pay examiners in time, and it is beginning to lose experienced and seasoned examiners. Information available is that the target date of 19 December for the release of the 2024 WASE results will have to delay because examiners are threatening to hold on to their scripts if payments are not made to them on the submission of marked scripts. The biggest challenge facing WAEC, which might further delay the release of the results, is the breakdown of obsolete equipment that the Council is working with. WAEC is unable to fund either regular maintenance that is required or procure new equipment. Currently, all companies that carry out regular maintenance on WAEC equipment have refused to do business with the Council due to indebtedness.
The Commissioner General for the Ghana Boundary Commission, Major General Dr. Emmanuel Kotia, has asserted the passage of the Ghana Boundary Commission Bill will help address numerous border disputes with the country's neighbors. Parliament yesterday passed the bill seeking to give legal backing to the establishment of the commission. Speaking to GHOne News after the passage, Major General Kotia stated absence of such a legislation has made the country's borders not just porous but difficult to patrol. According to him, Ghana can now engage its neighbor from a position of strength, adding security agencies can better police the country's borders to avert any insurgency attacks.
The Act also strengthens the Ghana Boundary Commission to be able to work with its neighbors or to collaborate with its neighbors so far as boundary demarcations, settling of disputes, amicable settling of boundary disputes are concerned. And let me say that the law has strengthened the capacity of the Ghana Boundary Commission to be able to undertake these tasks.
Can you share with us some of the powers of the commission?
No, the functions rather. The functions of the commission clearly, there are three main functions. Traditionally, the commission is to demarcate land boundaries, delimitate maritime boundaries, and then secondly, to undertake cross-border cooperation with neighboring countries, and the third, which I consider the most important one, of social intervention in deprived border communities, to intervene in deprived border communities. And the Ghana Boundary Commission has started a lot of work in these areas before even the bill was passed, and we are very elated that the bill has been passed and the strength and the power has now been given to the Commission to undertake its work. We are rather better positioned to identify our land maritime boundaries and to some extent our airspace boundaries. So that is key so far as our work is concerned. Once we're able to identify this, there will not be disputes. Once we're able to identify this, the security agencies responsible for the territorial integrity or ensuring that we don't have these security threats would also be very confident, and they know where the boundaries are and should be able to undertake this confidently.
The NDC Member of Parliament-elect for the Ablekuma West constituency, Reverend Dr. Kwabena Adu, partly attributes his victory to the electorate's rejection of what he describes as the arrogance tag on outgoing MP Ursula Owusu-Ekufo. Speaking to Sewame here on GH Today, Reverend Dr. Adu criticized what he called the dismissive tone of some of her comments, which he claims alienated voters. He highlighted his campaign strategy of offering a relatable and accessible alternative, which he believes resonated with constituents. Although speculation looms about a potential comeback by Ursula, Reverend Dr. Adu remains confident that the NDC has established a foothold in the constituency that will endure for years.
You know, and I must say that we realized that in 2020 before we contested her. You know, so when we're looking at our brand, how to brand Kwabena Adu, we looked at her strength, her weaknesses, and those were things that we picked up. The way people perceived her posture to the constituents, and then utterances that she may have made in time past that did not go down well with people. So then we had to model something very decent, something which was contrast to what she was, and I think in 2020 it to our benefit, and so we kept that strategy, you know. But naturally, that was my personality. I'm a pretty calm guy, so we just built our message around that, you know, and then also to show that people respect, which is a basic thing for every human being. They expect that you respect them, you know. But then when you comments as in Glefe it's not in the map, or Petekwe is a water zone and people shouldn't have lived there, and people live there, pay rent, buy electricity and vote, and there are polling stations within that community, people feel a bit insulted, you understand? So we made them understand. We believed, even if it was a Ramsia site, now the government over the years have allowed people to live there. So we acknowledge that it wasn't choice, but also cost of living and rentals are cheaper there. And so
away from politics, the Ghana Health Service is entreating the citizenry to be on high alert during the festive season as cases of cholera continue to be recorded in parts of the country. Ghana is currently experiencing a surge in numbers in some 4 regions, with the Western region recording 908 confirmed cases with at least 10 deaths. The Ghana Health Service thus launched a mass cholera vaccination campaign in the Western region from the 15th of December. Speaking to Sewame here on GH Today, I also West Municipal Health Director Dr. Louisa Ademki-Mate cautioned the general public to be conscious of what they eat and drink during the season and beyond to stem the tide.
These recent times, especially because Christmas is coming up, a lot of festivities, I would advise that if you go out, as much as possible, try and eat hot food.
Okay.
Because the bacteria is killed by heat. So as much as possible, let's avoid cold food, because then it will sit on it. But once the food is hot, the likelihood that the bacteria can survive on it is so as much as possible, let's not be doing ice cream, because it's Christmas time. You won't take your children out, you want to go and buy them ice cream. Ice cream is cold food. So if it's contaminated, you are likely to have the bacteria survive in it and all that. As much as possible, let's avoid eating food that we didn't prepare ourselves. You can prepare your own veggies at home, but you can have it contaminated because you don't know where it came from, and the washing must be done and done well. Vinegar, salt to wash it and wash it well and dry and make sure that it's clean. Just open it, the lettuce, open it up, be sure that there are no browny things in there. The fruits and vegetables must be washed and washed well, even if you are preparing it yourself.
Away from that story, let's head to the business world. In business, Fitch Ratings has painted a mixed picture for sub-Saharan Africa's economic prospects in 2025, citing a neutral outlook for sovereign credit ratings across the region. While the agency forecasts GDP growth recovery spurred by economic reforms and resilience against past drought impacts, challenges remain for countries with lower credit ratings, such as Ghana. According to Fitch, stricter monetary policies are expected to keep inflation in check, and fiscal reforms could reduce government debt to GDP ratios. However, the report underscores that countries with fragile credit profiles will face significant financing hurdles despite these broader improvements in the macroeconomic landscape. As Ghana emerges from its ongoing debt restructuring and grapples with IMF program targets, the global spotlight remains on its ability to navigate these pressing financial challenges. We are joined via phone now by Professor Patrick Isuming. He is an economist and senior lecturer at the University of Ghana Business School on this particular matter. Now, Fitch is suggesting a stricter and stronger monetary policy heading into 2025. Have we as a nation effectively been able to do this, and how best can we check inflation in the ensuing year?
Good afternoon and good afternoon to you. Thanks for having me. I think obviously we'll be able to, reduce the inflation from the peak we saw in 2022. But throughout the year, we struggled to get it below 20%, even though the monetary policy has largely been kept tight. So you get a sense that, there are underlying cost drivers, and therefore we need to begin to solve those cost issues before we'll be able to drive inflation down any further.
Speaking of that and beyond, next year we are seeing a change in government, a new government, and Fitch is also predicting that countries like Ghana with lower credit ratings are likely to have some financial challenges, and I want to believe that as in terms of access to international capital markets. But what we have as a country now is a likely shortfall if government is to proceed on its promise of cutting down some tax lines. And we're also seeing people demanding for an improvement in economic well-being. People are looking for jobs. As an alternative, what do we need to do as a country?
Well, I think it's true that the current president-elect has promised that they're going to remove some taxes. During the campaign, he has been relatively silent on what specific measures to make up the shortfall. But I think since then he's been speaking, and you get the sense that there's going to be some reforms around revenue collection. There's been discussion about getting more from our mineral resources, and then also cutting some of the exemptions. So I think, in principle, if those are done, he will be able to remove the taxes that he said he will remove, and we will still be able to balance our books. But broader tax measures are needed. More reforms are needed to bring in more revenue before the government will even have to implement its program. And I think the specific proposals we will probably see when the first budget is ready, maybe towards the end of the first quarter.
Finally, as a nation, we have had to restructure our debt. Some payments are due ongoing from 2025, and we have suffered some lower credit ratings as well. How do we best attract sustainable financing options, given where we are now?
Not in the short term. In the short term, we are not going to be able to get any portfolio funding from the commercial sources. The IMF program that we are on has to us from doing that. But I think perhaps the government can do more to attract some foreign direct investment, depending on the nature of programs that are implemented. And then also, we probably need to look a little more domestic, because ultimately, if we try to seek more foreign funding, we are going to have to pay for it. So I think the big thing is really to do more fiscal consolidation. It's great to hear that the president-elect has mentioned the need to cut more expenditures. I think the outgoing government has not been very amenable to that. So if you do some expenditure cuts, we'll be able to improve our revenue collection. I'm sure there will be some room for us to improve the state of the economy.
Professor Asumin, thank you so much for speaking with us. Professor Patrick Asumin is an economist and senior lecturer at the University of Ghana Business School. The Importers and Exporters Association of Ghana has expressed hope in President-elect John Dramani Mahama to introduce policies that will revive the economy and restore the confidence of the business sector. According to the Executive Secretary of the Association, Samson Asaki Awinkobit, this year has begun particularly challenging for businesses, leaving many stagnant and unable to record any growth.
In regards to the cedi to the dollar rate, many businesses who used to import went on silent because if they imports, their capital got burned, and people were losing sales revenue over 40% month by month, and it has not been easy for the business community. Expectations are very high, just like my industry, the business community expect better policies. New government will come to offer policies and solutions to control inflation, to control depreciations and stuff on. I see hope is coming. I see good new policies that are going to come. I see 120 days of Mahama will give some certain tax scrapping, and that will cushion the consumers' needs as well.
That does it for business. It's now time to do some sports news. Monica Bukari is on standby to give us the latest happenings in our world of sports. Monica? Take us away.
Emmanuel. Now, Emmanuel, Ghana has maintained 77th on the FIFA World Rankings after latest updates in the world of FIFA. Now, Ghana dropped earlier from 73rd to 74th position, maintaining their rankings on the update. Now, Ghana dropped 4 places down, but however maintains their 14th position in the African rankings in November, following a disappointing end to the 2025 Africa Cup of Nations AFCON qualifying campaign. Ghana previously occupied the 73rd position in October and 14 in Africa in the latest 2 months, finding themselves behind continental giants Morocco, Senegal and Egypt. The Black Stars picked up just 3 wins from their 15 matches across all competition during the 2024 season. Now, in his first appearance since recovering from a thigh injury, Kylian Mbappe scored the opening goal as Real Madrid won the first edition of the new-look FIFA Intercontinental Cup. He struck in Lusail Stadium, the same ground in which he netted a hat-trick in the 2022 FIFA World Cup final for France. Madrid beat Mexican outfit Pachuca 3-0 with Brazilian Di Rodrigo and Vinicius Jr. grabbing the second half goals. Real Madrid's victory over Pachuca in Doha saw them claim the FIFA Intercontinental Cup, their second trophy of the season. Real Madrid star Vinicius Jr. and won every possible individual award from the Intercontinental Cup. He was named the Golden Ball, Final MVP and the Tournament MVP. Now, still in Europe, Liverpool have also reached the semi-finals of the Carabao Cup for the 3rd time in 4 seasons with a 2-1 win against managerless Southampton. Goals from Darwin Núñez and Harvey Elliott did the job for Ancelot's Reds, who advanced to the last 4, where they will face either Arsenal, Newcastle, or the winners of tonight's encounter between Tottenham and Manchester United. Speaking after the game, Liverpool manager Ancelot says he wants to defend the Carabao Cup this season.
No, we have to defend the trophy because the club won it last season. I wasn't involved, but the players were, and Jurgen, of course, with his staff. We want to compete in every league, and this is one of them. So we're happy that we reached the semi-final. Although we're also aware of Newcastle, Arsenal, and probably it's either Tottenham and Manchester. So it's going to be it's always a tough competition, but this time for sure.
Now, Chelsea manager Enzo Maresca says the club believes Mikhailo Modric did not knowingly take a banned substance that led to him failing a drug test. The Ukrainian international has been provisionally suspended by the Football Association after a routine urine test provided Modric returned adverse findings. The 23-year-old, who is unable to play for or train with the club during his suspension, has denied using a banned substance, and Maresca hopes the winger will quickly be absolved of the blame.
I think now the situation is, in terms of, we have a statement from the club, and the club already said what do we need to say, so there is not anything to add, unless that the club, the coaching staff and all the people that they are inside the training ground, we support and we trust Misha.
What support is the club offering him at this moment in time?
General support in terms of, first of all, we trust Misha, and second, when these kind of things happen, you need to support your player in all the aspects.
Now do join us for more sports on the game at 1 p.m. My name is Monica Bukari. Back to you, Emmanuel.
Thank you so much, Mrs. Bukari, for that update in our world of sports. Let's now do some international news. Children have died during a stampede on Wednesday at a funfair in southwestern Nigeria. The incident happened at the Islamic High School in Basurun, Oyo State, near the economic hub of Lagos. Security forces attended the scene and arrested the event organizers. State Governor Seyi Makinde, in a statement, sympathized with the parents whose joy has suddenly been turned to mourning due to the deaths. Nigeria's National Emergency Services said it has deployed a team to help provide assistance to the victims. Children injured at the venue were taken to local hospitals where parents were asked to check for missing persons. Here's where we bring the 60 Minutes broadcast to an end. Do join us tomorrow at 6 p.m. at the Accra City Hotel, where we are having our festival and our carols service. You can join the EIB network there. On behalf of the entire production team, led by Joshua Judgement, I would say thank you for watching. My name once again is Emmanuel. Have a good afternoon.